evening, ladies and gentlemen. Another day, another show by BW Hotelier. Welcome to the 10th show of our newest BWH series, the GM Show. Today, we put forth the 4th show of the North and the 10th episode overall as we move back to the West next week before we move down South, East, and with a special one for the Northeast. Before we come back to the North, but not North as in the NCR. This time we're going to go further in, deep into the North. The topic for the show today is going big on domestic, retasking the absence of the international traveler. It's an important subject for our industry, which has struggled over the last 2 years with lockdowns, where the inbound international traveler, the big dollar spending international traveler has gone missing. A little bit about our show. Every Thursday, 5 p.m., block your time, which you've done over the last 10 weeks, and be there. Watch the finest general managers and finest area heads from across the country present their case and provide solutions for the issues we discuss in every show. Should you want to reach us for any issue, for any query, do email us at bwhotelier@businessworld.in. Let me repeat, bwhotelier@businessworld.in. Without much ado, I shall now get going with a brief introduction of our speakers. Let me start with Suman Gahlot. Sumanji is the General Manager of the Aloft at the New Delhi Aerocity. Sumanji.
Thank you.
Surinder Singh, new to the NCR, but not new to the industry. He's the Area Director, Dwarka and Haryana, as well as the General Manager for the Taj City Center in Gurugram. Hi, Surinder.
Good evening, everyone.
We have Amaan Kidwai, again, very new to NCR. He's just moved up north. In fact, his family hasn't come in yet from Bangalore. Amaan is the Area Manager, Welcomhotels for the North, as well as the General Manager for the Welcomhotel, Sheraton in New Delhi, Saket. Hi, Amaan. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Rahul Puri needs no introduction. Now almost an old hand for NCR. Rahul is the multi-property general manager for the Westin Gurgaon and the Westin Sohna Resort and Spa. Hi, Rahul.
To be here. Namaste all. How are you? Thanks.
Namit Agnihotri. He's the area general manager for the Roseate Hotels and Resorts. And he also heads the Roseate at the Aerocity. Hi, Namit.
Very good evening, and thank you for having me.
A pleasure having you all over here. We have, for the first time, we are going to be missing one speaker. We are going to be missing Sanzeev, who's the general manager of the NICO. As is prevalent these days, he has been taken in by the bug. And he is not good enough to even speak or be on the show. Sanzeev, we'll miss you, but we have you in our prayers. Get well soon. Permit me now to bring to the show our moderator, the one who's going to lead the show along with me, Ashwani Kumar Goela. I call him Ashwani. He's the cluster general manager for Rajasthan and Agra for the Radisson Hotel Group, as well as the general manager for the Radisson Blue Plaza, Delhi Aerocity. Ashwani brings with him 22 years of experience in hospitality. After graduating from Newport University, California in hospitality in 1999, he did his diploma in hotel management and started his career instantaneously with Hotel Intercontinental New Delhi. He then kept moving on and with great expertise and several stints across various hotel companies like the Radisson Hotel Group, the Imperial, and his last stint at the IHG. In the last 4 years plus tenure, Ashwani has been quite instrumental in setting high standards and leading significant initiatives in the hotel and achieving guest satisfaction and profitability. With the current pandemic, the last 2 years came with a lot of challenges for our industry, with hotels shutting. However, post reopening under his leadership, the hotel has done a V-shaped recovery and achieved bottom lines within 6 months. Congratulations, Ashwani.
Thank you, Bhuvnesh.
Ashwani Goela was the winner of the best general manager for upper upscale hotels in India in the at the BW Hotelier IHA in 2020. We're happy to have you on show, Ashwani. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now, permit me to hand over the baton.
Thank you so much, the Bhuvnesh, and good evening to everybody. Good evening to the audience. Good evening to the eminent speakers. And I think thank you to BW Hotelier team for organizing something like this, which is I think an industry first of doing shows every week and picking up relevant topics to our industry and inviting speakers. And it's great to see going north, south, east, west, and even the northeast. I don't think this has been done ever, where you're trying to stitch the entire hotel industry and taking perspective across India. So thank you once again for having me over here. So I think an exciting topic for the day today, which is going big on the domestic, retasking the absence of the international traveler. And as we all know, COVID-19 has been a watershed moment for all of us. And I think just before the session, we were talking to Bhuvnesh, and he mentioned that one of his brother-in-law's family, a doctor who's based out of Oxford, did mention that this is not going anywhere for the next 3 to 4 years because of the various strains that this has come at. But I think it came by surprise 2 years back, and it caused tremendous stress and loss, both in terms of human lives as well as our jobs. But I think it also compelled us to make long-term structural changes to our industry. A key trend that came out from this was, of course, the advent of the domestic sector, which helped most of us survive, and in a good way. Our expanding middle class and the aspirational young gen, also called the YOLO gen, started traveling, and like how. And as we move forward in this show, it will be great to see and hear the different perspective around this from our eminent speakers and industry leaders. So let me now introduce our esteemed panel members as we take the show forward. So we'll start with Ms. Suman Gahlot, our lady on the panel. Suman Gahlot, the adept and charismatic general manager of Aloft, New Delhi Aerocity, an industry veteran with 3 decades of experience in the hospitality sector. She's an influential leader and provides a strong support system through an inclusive culture and a persistent efforts in empowering women. She has won numerous accolades and honors for exemplary work, as her demeanor and vision speaks of her achievements. So welcome to the show, Suman, and really great to see what you do for the women empowerment. Our next speaker for the evening is Surinder Singh, the area head, Dwarka and Haryana, and GM, the Taj City Centre, Gurugram, a passionate hotelier, as Bhuvnesh said, with a rewarding career spanning over 3 decades. Surinder is a self-motivated individual with the ability to lead and motivate others with his positivity while delivering effective business results. His rich exposure and experience across geographies has infused the skill of cross-culture management. He's launched iconic restaurants, ensured high guest satisfaction scores, financial health of the hotels that he has led. As the area head, he oversees IHCL properties Vivanta Surajkund, the Gateway Resort Damdama Lake, and Vivanta New Dwarka. Surinder has also been actively involved in various industry and community activities. So welcome to the show, Surinder. It will be great to hear insights for this evening.
Thanks, Ashwani. Thank you so much for the introduction.
Thank you. Our third speaker for the evening is Amaan, Kidwai, area head for Welcomhotels North and GM Welcomhotel Sheraton, New Delhi. An alumni of IHM Mumbai, Amaan joined ITC Hotels as a hotel executive trainee at ITC's Hotel Management Institute in Gurgaon in 1996. Upon graduating from the program, he's held various positions in the F&B and general administration functions across properties in Hyderabad, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, and Bengaluru, before moving to his current role at Welcomhotel Sheraton, New Delhi. It'll be good to hear his insight today for the evening. So welcome to the show, Amaan, and welcome back to New Delhi, if I may say.
Thank you, Ashwani. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Our next speaker for the evening is Rahul Puri, multi-property GM, the Westin Gurgaon, the Westin Sohna Resort and Spa, globally experienced, forward-thinking hospitality professional with a highly comprehensive and progressive career path spanning over 2 decades. Rahul spearheads a portfolio of 2 hotels, as we mentioned. His journey with Marriott International started in 2005, leading the revenue management department for Sheraton Hong Kong Hotel and Towers, and then transitioned into the role of area head for revenue strategy for India, Australia, and Malaysia in 2011. And then further on, grew as a senior area director of revenue strategy South Asia, leading over 100 plus hotels portfolio under multiple brands spread over diverse markets. So welcome to the show, Rahul. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, Ashwani. Thank you.
Our final speaker for the evening, Namit Agnihotri, Area GM, Roseate Hotels and Resort. Namit brings over 25 years of experience in the hospitality industry to the hotels across various geographies. He comes across as a captivating personality for employee empowerment, a firm believer of the inverted pyramid style of management. He's a hospitality specialist and an avid traveler and a compassionate leader. Through his strategic planning and initiatives, Roseate Hotels and Resorts has won several laurels and is expanding across geographies. So welcome to the show, Namit. It'll be great to hear your insight.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So let us start with the show and to hear the different perspectives. So I would like to direct my first question to Surinder. So Surinder, with the domestic, as you know, with the evolution, when we grew up, a holiday was by road or in rail to the hills, and going to Goa or Ooty was a luxury. Or for that matter, dining out was not what it is today for F&B, didn't neither have the scale nor the options. International vacations for the exclusive large sahibs and rather well-heeled industrial types. Circle into today and juxtapose what happened to the Desi traveler until COVID-19 woke him to past ages and rudely. What will be your views on this, Surinder? Over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashwani. Let me begin by firstly thanking Bhuvnesh and the complete BW team. It's not easy to do something like this at this time, but having said that, I think it's a great initiative. Cheers to you, Bhuvnesh, on this. I would also like to compliment all the hoteliers on this show. I mean, all of us have gone through our own bit in last couple of months or years, okay, in keeping our associates and our guests safe. So kudos to all of you. Ashwani, my reply here would be that, India is not the same as it was a decade back. It has emerged as a tourism horsepower, and it's the 8th largest country in terms of contribution to travel and tourism GDP. So it's not a small player anywhere. Okay. As the current trend indicates, domestic leisure travel, which leads the industry recovery in short and mid-term, is there to stay. And unique locations that offer immersive, authentic, value-added offerings, services will definitely be the priority for tomorrow's travelers. And we all know staycations has helped us to survive through all this that has happened. And I think it is there to stay. Along with staycations, we've also seen a trend of leisure, which is business and leisure together. We've also seen a trend of MICE in digital formats. I mean, these trends were not there pre-pandemic, and they have all come about in last couple of months. And if we look at the reasons for domestic growth, the Indian customer has changed. Today, Indian customer wants to holiday 2-3 times in a year. It's no longer an Indian clientele which just wants to work. I mean, he wants to work hard, play hard, go for short breaks across. And that's the trend. I mean, we have seen this, that is happening. COVID second wave was a serious one. And it also got in along with that a fatigue factor, too many months of lockdown, too much of work from home. And all of us didn't have domestic help. All of our families suffered somewhere or the other. With all that stress, I think moment the curfew curbs got lifted after the second wave, there was a sudden rush to the hotels. And hotels made use of that opportunity. I mean, it gave value to the customers. I mean, I can't even imagine the price points the hoteliers were selling the hotel at. And from the original concept of RevPAR, I think hotels moved to TrevPAR. Nobody looked at the revenue per room available, but they just wanted to make enough revenue so that they could, kind of break even, keep afloat in the business, pay the salary, pay the bills, pay the taxes. So that was very, very important. Apart from that, I think the infrastructure development that has happened in India, the road development, the railways, the airports that have opened in last year or two have also made our Indian clientele easily reach these destinations, which is a great buoyancy. Ease of money. I mean, people have got credit cards. They just go on holiday, flash it. They're not worried to pay for next 30, 40 days. I think these are some of the factors that help the domestic travel to pick up. And if I may take 1 or 2 minutes and tell you why did actually international travel happen earlier? International travel happened earlier because, our own Indian destinations like Goa, Kerala, Rajasthan, and some of you became a little expensive over a period of time. And Indian clientele didn't see the value coming out of that. So I think Indians ventured out and got better value for money from East. Having said that, coming back to domestic tourism, travelers, I think, gravitated towards trusted brands as well. That was a trend that we saw in this time. And I'm very proud to say that, Taj, being the hallmark of Indian hospitality, was rated the world's strongest hotel brand 2021 by Brand Finance, which itself is a testament of customers' trust in a brand. So hygiene was right on the top. People wanted to go to places where, all touch points were safe. They were sanitized. They wanted to go in a place which could give them ample space to breathe in fresh air. With that, I think ICL had a fresh start to its strategy and came out about with Reset 2020. They introduced 4D packages, urban gateways, bizcations, wellness retreats. All these packages that were floated by ICL did extremely well. Obviously, the leisure markets have done even better in December as compared to 2019, but the city hotels also started doing well. With this also came the launch of our Cumin app, which is our food delivery app, and I'm sure most of you know of this. It was a food delivery app which got launched during the pandemic time, and in last 12 months, it's already present in 18 cities. We're looking at 25 cities in next 2 years. It's an app that has got developed into a food truck business. Food truck has started in Mumbai. It's going to start in Calcutta this week and then probably go down south. Along with that, we also gave birth to Cumin stores. I mean, it's present in Delhi in our very own Connaught and Ambassador, and it will travel to other cities as and when the time comes right. So domestic tourism, domestic travel, I would say, was like a booster shot or like a shot to the hoteliers to kind of meet its two ends, make us float in this business. So, I mean, that's what I would like to say on this right now.
Yes, thank you so much, Surinder. And I think what I could really gather was that the Desi traveler or the domestic sector, from the ease of money, from the rate correction that India and its destinations were able to offer, I think also got a good value for money in city hotels, but in resorts, probably what they would have spent outside, I think saving on to the flights charges, they were able to spend that money in some of our great resorts that we have across India. Of course, as you mentioned, the holidays from once a year to now 3 times a year. I think that's again a good factor for the domestic guests to travel more. And of course, we all as hoteliers welcome them with open arms for whatever reasons either meet our cost or to our salaries. But I think we welcome them with open arms, which wasn't the case, I think, before. So that's also helps the COVID post-COVID for the domestic to increase. So that's what I take away from your points.
Thanks.
Let me come over here, Ashwani, with your permission.
So
we should not forget today is a momentous day. Today, Air India reverts to Tatas. What a momentous day.
what a moment.
And I think we should all put our hands together for this amazing development. And Air India should find its feet under the sun and place in the world.
Absolutely.
Right? So congratulations to Air India and the Tatas, right? And also for the government for showing the resolve
Absolutely.
to effect this change.
Absolutely, sir.
It's the historical moment. I think 64 years. It's come back after 64 years to 69 years to Tatas, and hopefully we will turn it around.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Great. So I think with all of this, other travelers or the domestic travelers have started traveling, and like how, and of course we see that they have woken up quite rudely back for whatever reasons that Surinder just mentioned. My next question on this would be to Suman. And Suman, the question to yourself would be that now that they have started traveling, what must we do to get back the Indian travelers to the domestic circuit and not have them rush out once international travel opens? Is there a hook that we can tie them to? Or we see that it's just that they don't have an option, so they're traveling within India? Your views on this, Suman?
Sure. Thank you, Ashwani, for a very thought-provoking and relevant question. It is a concern of every hotelier at this moment that the moment the international flights open and global restrictions don't nudge tourists, how do we hold them? How do we retain them? And of course, to hook them, sure we can. We need to strengthen the hook, and we need to do a lot more to ensure that we sustain this moment that, of course, we've discovered that there is such a potential. I think pandemic knocked us off growth trajectory, and we've seen that millions lost jobs in this. And domestic tourists and the tourism per se really gave us a fresh lease of life and saved or rescued us. And it's important that we give it importance that it deserves, and we'll have to do a lot of things up here. So first we need to understand that why do Desi travelers rush out? I mean, what is it that holds their deeper interest to foreign shores, and they don't even probably spend as much time and breadth to see that what's here for us? India is such a great country with, you can have mount holidays, you can have spiritual retreats, you can have wellness getaways, you can have desert safaris, you name a place. I mean, we experience all seasons. Everything is available, but apparently somehow, what is it that they rush out? And we need to see that. I hope it doesn't become a trend all over again. Something that little success that we saw now, I hope, how do we sustain it? So we have to have a multi-pronged approach to this. Firstly, we need to see why they go. The very first reason comes to my mind is the esteemed value attached to international travel. The immigration ink or immigration stamp gives people bragging rights. And I think that's really something very, very, it's there. Much as we admit or we do not, it's there, very, very clear. How do we deal with it? We need to see that it's a perception battle of the traveler, the Desi traveler. We need to have something to do with the mindset. And it's a sense of longing, which is what pushes them out to other countries, to sense of belonging. I think that's what we need to hold them here. And that would not change overnight. I mean, there is a lot more effort we need to put in. And we also have to see that, for an example, Maldives. People would go there over and over again, but nobody turns to our islands. We have 33,000 kilometers coastline. Andaman, Nicobar, Lakshadweep, explore the unexplored. But maybe the reason why they rush out is the foreign locations are well kept, well promoted, tourist friendly, and there are different infrastructure. So I think that's something holds them. and takes them out. But that one area is a great opportunity for us to work on, because the Desi traveler does not mind loosening their purse strings. So long they perceive the value of every penny spent. And that's something we need to give. So we say we have here, we've done our bit, but actually all of us have traveled to countries, and we see that there is, when we compare, there is a distinct difference. That difference is what we need to bridge before we really think that, yes, we have, like, for instance, you have anybody who has to visit for a unique destination experience, Great Wall of China, they got to see, they will go out. You can't really hold them back for long. But do we know that we have, there is a Kumbhakarna fort in Udaipur. That is the second largest masonry wall in the world. And after that, but how many of us know about it? How many of us really take that on our bucket list or a checklist that, yes, that's something we need to see? We also have something like, okay, fine, Run of Kutch, beautiful territory, but again, something not promoted not enough. And there are other areas. Yes, it's good to go to Niagara Falls, but what about Chitrakoot Falls? You see, there are very pristine, very beautiful places around. We need to just ensure that they are equally lucrative. So I think that's something we need to really create, that sense of pride and preserve the heritage, preserve the whatever we have. We have rich history. I mean, not the recent colonial past is what we are sitting with. We go years back. So I think that's one part. Second thing is we need to do something about our infrastructure, because whether it's a tourist police or it's something to do with the safety, security, or, promote the tourism, or package it in a way that, yes, it appeals and it seems like a safe place to work, safe place to be in. People are coming. I have places, and trust me, it didn't come cheap. It came at a very, very high cost, but people were absolutely happy to go there, and they spent about 15-20 days, because it is peace, quiet, out of the stress from work from home or the pandemic stress, or probably some break, or the escape route out of sheer boredom that you wanted to get away. And it is all, whether it's a heartbreak or a pre-marriage, post-marriage break, whatever, people really made it to these places and they enjoyed it. But would they like to repeat it? Because we also have to see, are we economically viable? I mean, whether airfare or something, you feel that, yes, it's easy to go to Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore in the same amount. If I have to spend maybe in some far-flung area within our own country, is it economically viable? So somehow, I mean, Surinder mentioned Cochin and Kerala, and these places became very expensive. They're exorbitantly priced at this moment. So if we package our offers, and if we ensure that, we create worth for our domestic travelers, I'm sure we're going to hook them up. And also we need to create a set of library, the information that, yes, we are sitting with so much of wealth. There are so many destinations within our own country. I mean, you really travel 3 countries to see, and all that you can see in quarter of our nation. So I think that's something we need to create, that pride, preserve those historical documents, ensure that people are interested, and that's something we need to cultivate. It won't happen overnight. We really need to put in effort. There is nothing like a colossal investment, but definitely we need to probably collaborate or tie up or some kind of a system with the ASI, or somewhere, yes, we collaborate and we adopt destinations and work on that. So I think that's something, these are the ways and means where we would be able to hook our customers within our own country and ensure that our money, people enjoy our nation first. Sure, they will go if somebody the cultural socio fiber is such that if somebody has to have a casino or a skiing holiday or some kind of a different experience, they sure will go. But lot will remain inside, and people are enjoying this kind. But this is only because nothing is available. So once that availability opens up, do we really go to keep them here? Yes, sure. But these are the steps we have to take, is what I personally feel on this.
Perfect. Thank you so very much, Suman, for your thoughts. And I think a very important point that I have taken from this is that how do we improve the perception of our own Indian destinations? The second, of course, was that how do we, what do we do in terms of improving the perception? Who has to do this, and how does this happen? So I think that brings me to my next question that goes to
Also,
Rahul.
another very important point, Ashwani, apologies again, I have this habit of nudging in. I think we could create sample bucket lists, for the country, region-wise, category-wise, territory-wise, which is something that Sumanji suggested, and we should float it around. Have the domestic travelers seen these bucket lists? Do they have them on their agenda?
Absolutely. And I think a very important point is that I think our inbound tour operators also usually sell these kind of bucket lists outside India, but we've not really been selling this within India. So I think that's something that we need to change now and educate our own Indians about what all is available in India as well, and not let them go out. So I think that would be an important
Another very important point, Ashwani, I would say something we as our own countrymen, we need to look up to our own places rather than look down upon. We look
absolutely.
up to
I think the overall perception has to
shores.
improve. Absolutely.
That is a lot to.
Absolutely. And that brings me to my next question to Rahul. And Rahul, to you is that as Sumanji just mentioned about improving the perception to hook the domestic guest back again. Do you think this is going to be a national exercise or a state level government exercise, or do we in our private travel, tourism and hospitality space have to do our bit, or a bit of all? And don't we all have a role to play to aid the Desi traveler discover Indian travel and tourism destinations and world-class hospitality? Like how Bhuvneshji just mentioned, should we create the bucket list? And if we do create, how do we really promote those destinations to our own domestic guests and not let them go out of India, but actually promote within India? So what will be your thoughts around this?
Great question. Thank you, Ashwani. And I just to get this whole domestic piece, a great discussion today evening going, and I 100% agree with Surinder and Suman as well to all the thoughts they have. I'm going to just put a few more thoughts around it. And I think the question you have is around a hook in terms of, what's our responsibility to make sure as a fellow hoteliers. And let me also start by saying I've worked overseas for about 8 years, and I'm a very proud Indian hotelier who loves doing what we do every day. We all can vouch for it in terms of the Indian hospitality. You go mountains, you go sea, you go any city hotels. The Indian hospitality is unbeatable to start with. I think ourself when we travel and check into other hotels, whether it's a leisure or a business, we get what we want, whether we're on a business or we're traveling with a family. So I think just to start with, I think we all are already playing that role in terms of really just making sure our local travelers are getting what they require, whether they're traveling for a business or a leisure short break, or those big Indian fat weddings, which is all happened in our country over the last 2 years. Large MICE businesses, literally any and every kind of business which operates. I love math, and I look at a lot of these things very analytically. Few things I was thinking and discussing it with my team the other day. I think India, as a hotel industry, and not just hotel, let's take a step ahead to look at an overall travel industry, whether it's our wholesale partners. I mean, I have one at home where my wife's sister was a hotelier and went and opened her own travel company and runs a very successful travel company herself. And that's a great example of, the depth our Indian industry has from travel standpoint. Our OTA partners, you speak to all the OTA partners or even travel organizations and all, and they can tell us that they have grown multiple folds, and that shows that there is enough and more within us. Marriott India portfolio, 140 hotels still counting. It's growing over years. I manage 2 beautiful hotels, Westin Gurgaon and Westin Sohna. Westin Gurgaon is 10 years old. Westin Sohna is 12 to 13 years old now, and still standing tall, literally welcoming every kind of customer, whether it's business leisures and all that. But just few specific points, Ashwani, to your question, I would just bucket it down to a few things. I think first point is COVID. Again, every crisis teaches us something. COVID has actually made Indian open up India for us, and that's a thing I would say it. And I know friends who are saying, we've done enough of Goa and Kochi and all that. I want to travel to Bhopal, or I want to travel to Lucknow and do this whole food trail, or we want to travel to a lot of these cities which has been literally untapped from the travel standpoint. And I think that wouldn't have happened if this crisis wouldn't have happened. So I think that's number one. Number two, I think I could vouch for it within the Marriott culture and the two hotels I run. I think as a hotelier, our number one, and I'm sure all of you would agree with me, our number one focus is to go local. I mean, the first chef or a first strategy we would have around an experiences or a services would be around local, and that's for domestic. And we all started this call by saying namaste, and that says a lot. That I think we are, we are all made in India hoteliers, very passionate about local regional food versus, all that, and that really pulls that whole domestic piece going. And I think Suman and Surinder both said that around resorts. Again, I could say that within the Marriott umbrella, my own resort, Westin Sohna Resort, which I manage, or JW Mussoorie, or W Goa, or I could name few, whether it's resorts out of Jaipurs and all. They have all seen an amazing growth over the last 2 years, with almost every kind of customers coming and endorsing that whole experience, which they would probably travel to Europe or US or anywhere else within Southeast Asia and not regret getting into these resorts and enjoying that overall experiences. And to me, when you ask this question, what is our role? I think we're already playing that role very well as just not hoteliers, but just the overall travel industry. But I also agree with Suman. I think just the overall piece of keeping this business within our own country, whether it's really doing a lot of partnership together, between airlines and hotels and OTA, we should all come together and do that partnership together to say, okay, I'm not just the hotelier selling our hotels, but just look at a overall approach and keep that segment growing. My last piece is around luxury. I mean, I think we can find a hotel in this country. I'm not talking about a presidential suite or a villa, but we can find that room in this country for almost $1,500 or $2,000. Our Bulgari hotels in Bali would command such kind of rate. Or you go to cities like Tokyo or New York, you would pay that kind of rate for a fine room. And I'm 100% sure we could find that hotel room with that sort of tag in our country. And we could also find a hotel with almost maybe just a $30 or a $50 tag within our hotel. So I think, and that saves us in terms of the volume as well. I think we got what we want. And just to keep a time check, I would just limit my answers to some of these points, which I have. I hope,
Yeah, no, great, Rahul. I think very well put up over here that the brands are already doing it. And I think which is about going local, which is about tapping the domestic market, which be it the food trails that each the destination or the hotels could offer wherever we are in India. Each of the hotels could start to highlight some of their domestic destinations as to what else to do apart from being in that hotel. And also take it further to F&B and take it further with airlines, hotels, and OTAs, wherein you are able to put up those bundled packages around over there where the guest can kind of come and experience it. And this brings me back to my previous question, where we create an itinerary for them, like we do that for an itinerary of what one must do in that hotel or a destination if he was to come and stay. It could be one of the hotels, maybe in Goa or in Kerala or in Kochi. What could we be doing there? Maybe the hotels could start putting up their itineraries as well, so that it helps our guests, our Indian guests, understand what's there for them. So I think that's interesting and good to know. So now with this, I move on to the next question to Namit Agnihotri. So Namit, the question to you would be now, what is it with our state tourism boards? Are they all about releasing intangible ad campaigns without actually luring the guest. And why we are saying this is, of course, as for the first three questions, and you heard the three speakers speak about it, that are we doing enough to lure the Indian traveler? Is there a case for more personalized and multi-pronged approach to reach, tie, and nail a prospective Indian guest and book him his dates and show him via a never forget experience? Your views, Namit.
Yeah, thank you for having that question to me. You know, what we totally, as a brand, totally believe is that tourism is not just an aggregate or merely a commercial activity. It is also a very important ideological framing of history, nature, culture, and tradition. Now, today, when we are looking at rebuilding, you know, we are definitely looking at rebuilding. We have a very niche country. If you look at it, there's no other country which can provide the kind of infrastructure. Yes, it's a question which is work in progress. We need hygienic areas. We need places which have the potential for increasing the length of stay of the guests also. So having said this, rebuilding the tourism sector and providing tourists with rewarding experiences across states, which has to take part by all tourism boards. You know, it's like hand in glove. It has to be public and private partnership here, because yes, you need frameworks. You need ease of doing business, which has been the mantra of the current government. But has that actually come down and played with us? Because we, as one of the newest luxury brand in the country, and being domestically Indian, and of course, we have overseas interest and in different verticals too. And I do get engaged with a lot of state boards because there are a lot of projects, a lot of things happening. I see the intent is nice, but is the intent actionable is the question. Why? So why? I mean, if you go to any of these, I'm sure you must have been to ITB, ILTM and all that. When you see different states all in one pavilion, and is that the way you want to project? How is each state going to compete with another state to get that rupee in? Because you're not getting the dollar coming in easily right now. The rupee is going to be the holding factor for the next couple of years. Having said that, what are we doing? I mean, if you look at it also, even if you look at Udan, the tier 2, tier 3 cities, I mean, for example, if you want to get to Manali from Delhi, how do you go? There's one flight in a day, that is also a hopping flight. So infrastructure is absolutely hand in glove with the state tourism boards. If you recall, you'll only recall 2 or 3 state tourism boards as one would be definitely Kerala, one definitely Madhya Pradesh, one definitely Gujarat, because Mr. Amitabh Bachchan is there. Over and above that, any of the state tourism, who are they doing it? And in today's generation, you're trying to tap the guy between the age of 30 to 45. He's the one who's exploring, going for staycations, workations. How many states can say that I have 5 different unique destinations in my state? Very few. If you look at the coastal line, I mean, you go through 7,500 kilometers of coastline, starting from Bengal all the way till Gujarat. And what do we do? What are the states doing in terms of our, cruises? I mean, do we have cruises? We have rivers, the holiest river, the Ganges. I mean, it goes to many states. How are we interdependent in promoting those? Tourism boards cannot run companies like today. Congratulations for my ex-company getting back Air India. Likewise, tourism boards need to come back with the private players, because the private players are the ones who are going to get the equity in. They are the ones who are going to create that niche factor water area. And of course, states need to get into, search engine marketing. They need to get into digitalization. They need to target the client who is going to come and spend their rupee. I don't see it happening anywhere, barring like the 2 or 3 states. What are we creating? We have to create that ecosystem. And the ecosystem is not only me or the framework, it's everybody. It's even starting from the janitor at the airport to the person who's cleaning the railway station. Do we have toilets on the highways? Do we have decent motels? Do we have decent places? It is happening now with the National Highway Authority and all those things. So yes, there is still a lot of work in progress with all the state tourism boards and all of us who are equity players in the same.
Great, Namit, great to hear your thoughts. I think what you rightly mentioned, apart from 3 or 4, I would say Rajasthan Tourism Board also has some good ads around it. It's just because I handle that area, so I kind of keep.
Sorry, my apologies.
No, but I think, but you're so right that it doesn't come on the top of your mind, apart from Kerala, which did it exceptionally well. and Madhya Pradesh or probably Gujarat.
Exactly. Even Incredible India, sorry to come in, Incredible
Yeah.
India was also done by ONN during Mr. Khan's era. And I think that was a brilliant, brilliant thing, which I think that has the recall factor.
But yes, and also now, what are we doing to kind of revive it also? I mean, Incredible India happened almost 8 or 9, 10 years back, if I'm right. Now, what are we doing about it? Can we just live on one Incredible India, or could we do more? I think you touched upon that fact that the ecosystem needs to be created for our domestic guests to be able to do so. And I think we have a lot of role to play with our state boards and work along with them as you do in your role. You work along with the state boards. I think that's something which is what I could gather, that we need to work as hoteliers or as private players with the state boards and guide them as to where do we need their support and help for all of us to flourish and to get this domestic guest back again. And I think this platform of BW Hotelier, Bhuvneshji, will really request you if you could at your forums as well take this to the state boards from a kind of a uniformed point of view about where is the issue lying. Sometimes we are not able to even reach the right people across.
So very rightly put, Ashwani. I was hearing Namit's point of view and how you kept it. The point is, what Mr. Amitabh Kant did years ago in Kerala should have been taken to its logical conclusion. The point is, one bureaucrat comes and goes, and the other one does not continue stepping on the accelerator. Now, why do we have to revive Incredible India? Why at all did we let it fall?
Correct.
So there is a case in point of letting the private players come in and continue doing the good act. Having said that, I mean, you're the moderator, fair enough. Why don't we pick on your mind now? Let me shoot one question at you with your permission.
Sure, sir, please.
Yeah. So tell me, let me center back to Delhi and NCR, right? Who are the typical guests for hotels in Delhi and NCR? What advantages that Delhi NCR enjoy over the rest of the country? What attracts the rest of the world to the NCR? And how can we attract more tourism traffic, right? What advantages do Delhi and NCR enjoy over the rest of the country? Let me tell you, we are the national capital region, right? There's no getting away from the reality of the fact that not just tourists, a whole lot of other travelers come, but tourists have to come in. There's so much of history around Indraprasth. We called it Indraprasth. Hastinapur was next door. You got the seat of the government here. What more?
Absolutely, Bhuvneshji, and thank you. I think you stole some of my answers also in this. But what I would definitely say, yes, that the Delhi NCR is, as we all know, is a cosmopolitan city. We have guests. Probably the hotels in the Delhi NCR have segments which are from across India. We don't have any segment which is not there. So we've got all walks of life. We've got multinational corporates, SME, MSME, inbound tourists, international transits coming and doing transit stays over here, guest experiencing, want to experience aspirational world-class shopping or F&B the destinations, MICE, residential weddings, cruise, medical tourism, central government, ministries, Supreme Court, visa issuance. So we have guests who are coming from all walks of life, coming to Delhi, because of course Delhi has all of this available with it. From other cities, if you were to say how are we different, I think from hospitality point of view, I think the infrastructure, the largest room inventory, probably one of the largest room inventory that can hold multiple events in the city. We also have one of the busiest airports in the world, which helps us and our guests to come and go from here. And as you just mentioned, the ministries, the Supreme Court, the embassies, they're all housed over here from the northern side, at least from the north or the central side. Everybody needs to come to the Delhi NCR. But yes, how do we promote the tourism? I think people look at the city as a fast-paced business city. I think some of the like how the Suman ji had mentioned earlier as well, that we don't really highlight the options or the heritage or the culture of Delhi for our domestic guests. And I think the answer remains the same as how do we do it? We probably use the tourism boards to talk about it. We don't highlight somebody had mentioned, I think Rahul mentioned about a food trail in Lucknow. We also have a food trail in Delhi Che. And I mean, people really want to go to Delhi Delhi Sikhs during Ramzan and to enjoy the delicacies. There are food connoisseurs, but how are we talking about it? The Chandni Chowk has gotten revamped. What are we doing about it? Do people outside Delhi know of this? Maybe, maybe not. And then we are again not we don't have one as such body, or we don't have even us as a hoteliers are not really highlighting the tourism aspect of hotels. And I think that is a learning we all can take. Somebody had mentioned, Surinder, I think, about leisure. So I think it's a very busy business city. But then how are we attracting the business guests to probably stay back with extra one night to experience the city as well while you're here? Otherwise, it's a quick in and a quick out for a business guest because he feels that there is not much to be around. I'm an airport hotel. I'm at the airport. We've got two other general managers from the Aerocity, and we know how Aerocity has boomed in the last few years. And I've been running a hotel which was the only airport hotel for 16 years office tenure. And when this was coming up, Aerocity, everybody said, where will all these rooms get filled up? Where is the guest? But now we see that there are guests. And the fact that all the hotels are doing busy also tells us that people are more willing to stay within Aerocity and not move out to or see the tourist destinations across. And I think that's the case in point, that we need to do a bit to promote Delhi as a tourism and a cultural heritage place, apart from the food trails. And again, all of this is available, but it's usually available to guests outside India. And hence we do see inbound guests coming in, foreigners coming in. They're loving to do a rickshaw ride at Chandni Chowk, but we would not want to do that. Or they would like to do a horse ride at India Gate, but we would not want to do that because we feel it's below our kind of level to even go there and do it. So that's all it brings back to the first 2 or 3 points that everybody is mentioning. I think the answer remains the same, that we need to improve tourism by really working hard with the state tourism boards, and also understanding that we need to do our bit as well to promote such kind of destinations.
Very well put, Ashwani. I keep coming back to I'm somebody who works with control sheets and checklists, right? It's like you go to the airport behind the loo, there's a janitor's checklist. Did you do this? What time? Who came? Did what? I think we need to create bucket lists. We need to create checklists for every city and catchment, for F&B, for historic sites. I mean, you're talking about Aerocity, not that Rahul Puri is very far away, right? Correct. He's barely 4 kilometers away. I mean, the Aerocity has, how many hotels does Aerocity have?
11.
11. Yeah, 11, yeah.
Yeah, some of them are still not fully operational, I think. For the longest time, the outer periphery rooms were not operational in each hotel. The fact is, the Aerocity has its own damn metro.
Correct.
And it goes into the city center, right? It just goes within sniffing distance of your Delhi Che. Delhi Che, not only for Jama Masjid, even for a vegetarian like me, has so much of variety.
True.
How do we get people? I was shooting with a CXO hospitality, a honcho of Indian origin who was born in Delhi the other day. And he was telling me, he says, I am longing to go to Old Delhi for food. He says, I'm coming over there. I want to trot that entire catchment on food. Right? So,
absolutely.
I mean, why are we missing? I mean, I shot with Mark Willis of Accor. He says, I wear my hat and I go unannounced on foot, on rickshaws into Old Delhi just to eat. Absolutely. And he says, I do it on most of my trips. Now, if a Gora can do it, what's wrong with us? I think we are overcome with a lot of snob value.
Correct.
Right? So we might as well go and do this in Greece or in Turkey or somewhere in Europe and America, but we find it hard to do within India.
Absolutely. We love the street food outside India, but we don't have
uninitiated, Gurgaon has the biggest food exercise going on. I mean, within walking distance from Rahul's hotel.
Correct.
So I think we're not promoting well. We're not creating checklists. Sorry, I buttoned too long.
Not at all,
Not
sir.
be doing this.
Absolutely. And this is really, I think, the need of the hour, not just for Delhi NCR, but most states, as you rightly mentioned, sir.
Yeah.
So
All
great,
right.
sir. With
Back
that,
to you, sir. Back to you,
thank
sir.
you, sir. With that, I take the evening forward now. My next question is to Amaan. So Amaan, tell us, cricket is like a religion in India. So do you think tying it up with a sporting event, in case tying it up with game organizers, stadia, hotels, and tour operators, and throwing some other locations for an extended stay, various cricket series held across the year in India, or IPL games, or now the IPL types like wrestling, kabaddi, etc. Do you think there is an opportunity for us over here to create such kind of a circuits, or create such kind of a package around for people to come and see this? And also on the same breath, I wanted to also request you to kindly also tell us that about the ITC hotel, because you're coming from Bangalore, and I think you were the one who converted, and correct me if I'm wrong, wherein the ITC Gardenia is like a lead hotel. So if you could just tell us something about that as well on the same lines. Thank you, Amaan. Over to you.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Ashwani, and happy to be here. Thank you, Bhuvnesh ji, for this opportunity. I think going on domestic is a great topic. I think because ITC Hotels, a homegrown Indian company, a part of ITC Limited, and Namaste is our logo, which defines Indian hospitality. So I'm truly happy to be here. And Ashwani, before we get on to the sporting question, you asked me about ITC Gardenia, and yes, I was part of the pre-opening team also of that hotel. And when we opened in 2009, we were Asia's first and world's largest then LEED Platinum rated hotel. And of course, now ITC Grand Chola in Chennai has got the largest hotel tag. But the US Green Building Council has rated ITC hotels as the largest chain of its size with the maximum number of LEED Platinum hotels. So we are really proud. Yes, now we have ITC Windsor as well as the ITC Grand Chola now carbon positive. Yes, so absolutely. So that these are initiatives which ITC has taken, and responsible luxury is our ethos, and truly proud, of the legacy. And also on the sporting, again, here I can share my personal experience, because during my assignments in both Bangalore and Chennai, sports was, a large segment of our business during the sporting season, be it the ISL or the IPL or various events. And I've been a service provider, so to say, since the very first edition of IPL. And as they say, that sports tourism is one of the fastest growing sectors of tourism, with IPL being ranked amongst the top tourism events in the world, among the top 3 also, according to some data, considering the number of people who go out for these matches. And the government's Khelo India campaign has brought about greater focus on sports infrastructure in the country. And with our ever-improving performance at global sporting events, be it the Olympics or Paralympics and other international individual sports also, and team sports, there is a tremendous potential to leverage the interest of the sporting enthusiast to embark on the sports tourism. And while all of us will remember the onslaught of COVID, as hospitality professionals, I think we should always remember that this also gave a big boost to the domestic tourism which it brought along with it. This spurt should also translate into an increased demand for other forms of tourism. And I think sports tourism is one such vertical of tourism. Speaking on specifically on sports, the success of cricket, kabaddi, football, hockey, and other leagues has brought the spectators back to the stadia. And there are more and more fans traveling across the country to watch their favorite teams play. The tourism industry has an opportunity to further tap into this segment, though there is very limited movement right now, through attractive, comprehensive packages, which include the travel, the stay, tickets to games, and of course, coupled with the experiencing of the local culture, history, and cuisine. Data shows that there is a 30% rise in travelers booking their holidays, where they combine an IPL match experience with local sightseeing. And there is also a spike in the inflow of tourists into cities within a 250 to 300 kilometer radius of the city where the match is being held. Going by these trends which we see, and it is of course only the primarily domestic traveler who's been traveling lately for the cricket and other matches, there is an opportunity for the industry to curate experiences for such a traveler. Like I mentioned, many hotels, including our ITC hotels, where the sporting teams stay, witness a surge in demand when the teams are in-house, as the fans also want to stay in the same hotel with a hope to bump into their favorite players for an everlasting selfie moment, or to dine with the same venues as the team, or even get an opportunity to get autographs from them. And I've witnessed it myself that during the match days, how the occupancies go up tremendously at our hotels. Some teams, in fact, have even realized that there is an opportunity lies in this, and they have packages where I've seen people buy very expensive tickets, travel with the team. They don't travel in the team coach, but they travel in a separate vehicle, which is arranged by the team management. The stay is included, travel is included in the same aircraft. They go together, they spend time with the players, get the best of seats in the pavilion. So these packages have already been created by some of the team management. So if they can do it, I'm sure we can also do it as travel operators and the hospitality professionals. So I think there is tremendous opportunity for driving this business from the sports enthusiast in the domestic market segment.
Thank you so much, Amaan. And I think really kudos to you for ITC Gardenia in terms of the LEED Platinum accolade that you received. Truly something which is the need of the hour to offset the carbon footprint. And I think what you rightly mentioned was that there is a huge opportunity, of course, to create packages around where the teams are and where the matches are. So apart from just creating packages of watch IPL on the bar and have a large screen and offer 6 pints of beer, which most of us do, I think we need to really step up and now start to offer to actually go and watch the match, have a word with the game organizers or the team management, get the passes, make it like an all-inclusive deal for the guests to come and go, rather than going out and watching maybe a Grand Prix. When you go for a Grand Prix or for an F1, you get like an all-inclusive package. Similarly, create something, make it easy for our guests to not feel that how will I get the stadium, where will I get the tickets from, where will I get the stay from. So I think as hoteliers, we can and we should probably kind of do a bit more on this, where we can step up and start to create packages around this. So thank you for your insight. Yeah, thank you, Amaan, for your insights on this.
So let me just come in over here and briefly say a line about the next week's show. Next Thursday, which is the 3rd of February, we step into Aquarius. We've actually already stepped into Aquarius. We have the F&B show. It's called F&B Play Has Been Big, Emerging Opportunities, Challenges and Trends. F&B is a huge and strong pillar of our industry, and more so now over the last 2 years, with in-house dining and fine dining being at the threshold of closure, literally closure. It's our F&B which has done a great turnaround and a great job of taking the experience to the consumer's home. Now that when we are opening up, right? So we have another great situation where F&B is going to shine and shine well for the industry. So that'll be next week. We shall be doing the show from Mumbai, and joining in from there will be some of the finest general managers again. Thank you. Sorry, Ashwani, back to you.
Thank you, sir. And I think really great. F&B is the need of the hour. And I think as we move forward, I think maybe in another 2 or 3 years, F&B revenues in some destinations have already surpassed the room revenues. And in most destinations, this is how F&B is going to be. And this is going to be a very important area for us, and not that the rooms only are going to be important. And some destinations, rooms will sell because of F&B. So we really need to know.
You know best with the great kebab factory.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so let me, Amaan, ask you another follow-up question on the same one that you just mentioned with regards to the cricketing. What about the educational institutions? Right. So do you think we have an opportunity for having exciting, affordable, high on experience holidays for students from schools, unis, colleges, throw in and manage some educational outings of meaning that will get their attention, tickle interest buds, and then sign up? So maybe like an experience around that. So maybe we start with one or two universities and then create a trend around it. Do you think there is a case in point over here? Over to you, Amaan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not just universities. I think across courses, across classes, it's for everybody, I think. And if I may just start by saying, by quoting Benjamin Franklin, tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. And I'm sure most of us remember that in our school days or in our college days, or when we started as really, really small kids, the trips to the local zoo or the park or the planetarium were all part of our learning curve, and how we understood the flora and fauna, and how we also understood the various aspects of certain sciences by the practicals, which were certainly more interesting than the theory classes. I still remember that when I was in class 2, we all were given 2 coins of 2 paise each to take a bus from Masgon to the docks, Masgon docks. And that was the first experience of how to travel in a bus by buying our own tickets. So that experiential learning across classes is becoming more and more popular. And with the new education policy of the government, it is bringing in tremendous focus on this medium of instruction, where kids actually go and experience rather than learn by rote. And I think this is the right time for educational tourism to grow at a much faster pace than it has been currently. I was reading somewhere and I came across a quote which says that the best education I have had is through travel. And the versatility of offerings within our country, it ranges from, the seas to the deserts to the snow-clad mountains as destinations of seeing and observing. And there are also learning opportunities which could be as diverse as history and culture to spirituality, traditional medicine, art, craft. The list is endless, absolutely, in our country, considering the length and breadth and the diverse culture which we have. So a beginning can be made by the hotel industry and the travel operators connecting with schools who will be, or educational institutions who are willing to consider travel, if only they can be assured of a great learning experience and, of course, a safe environment. With a large number of students across various classes and courses, there is plenty of demand, which is waiting to be tapped. And eventually the economies of scale will also kick in, making these packages more economically viable for the industry as well as the schools. As parents, our greatest concern is, of course, the safety and the security of our children. And whatever be their age, of course, when they are not around us, when they are not with us. And as professional hoteliers, I think it is our job to reassure them that the parents that the children are absolutely safe when they leave home for a greater learning experience. To mitigate the risk, for example, of the infection during COVID for our guests, employees, and business partners, ITC Hotels introduced the We Assure protocols way back in June. I think it was within 2 months of the pandemic, which received a platinum certification from DNVGL. And we have received great feedback from all stakeholders. So I think it's very important that a safe and secure environment for children is provided when they are traveling, whichever class they may be. Going forward, I think destinations that lend themselves to creating some experiential learning will attract greater traffic. And we have already seen signs of this in our Welcome Hotel properties like Katra, where people are coming in for river rafting experiences, or excursions are coming to the Patni top there, or at the Welcome Hotel Chail and Shimla, where they have invested in a lot of outdoor activities like archery, etc. So I think these are some things which will certainly get our kids to move around in a safe environment, and there is an opportunity which lies here.
Sure, absolutely, and thank you, Amaan, for putting it so well, I think, and what you mentioned is something called experiential learning. I think I do take that point, that this is definitely going to be, and I think it's just that we've never laid emphasis on this sector, not realizing that this holds such good footfalls if done right. So thank you for your point on that. Okay, so with this, I move on to the next question. So next question is to Suman. And Suman, at the start of the show, you'd mentioned something about the opportunities in the hill circuits and spiritual circuits. Now, on that same line, do you think extended family reunion and breaks and do customized packages make reunions worthy of remembrance? Throw in all they want: photography, film, food, outing, spiritual getaway, games, resorts, etc. So again, like a similar thing that you had mentioned in the first question, that people are not aware about some of the things, and second is they do not understand how to go about it. And as Bhuvnesh mentioned, make a bucket list and put it across. Do you think this could be that bucket list wherein you put in everything about what all you have to do in a destination and go for extended family reunion and breaks? And similarly, if there is an opportunity in the hill and the spiritual circuits as well or not. Over to you, Suman.
Yeah, so absolutely, Ashwani. These curated experience, or what I would say is the catalog experiences, are the next big trend which industry is going to witness. I was going through the Times of India today. The wellness as a sector, it has done so well, double-digit growth within our own resorts, sectors, etc. So spiritual tourism, wellness tourism, and these healing retreats. I mean, I was speaking to a friend in Vana Resort in Dehradun. I mean, look at the kind of experiences they provide. I mean, something totally unexplored territory, not very, I mean, of course, it has very unique experiences. So these curated experiences, celebration travels, immersive travels will definitely see a new light. There are two kinds. One is the organizational, the groups, the social, which come in a block. So you have to customize and curate the entire, maybe 100 people or 50 people, etc. One would be where a group of 10, maybe a family with different likes, dislikes, different tastes, different age, different requirements would travel. And then there are a lot of people who are traveling with pending bucket list. Somebody who got married in 2020 wanted to recreate. Now, I run a new age design hotel at the airport, which is seeing, of course, it's a corporate business hotel with the highest of occupancies. And, even in this space, which is not really a resort, we could create such special experiences, and it's under Marriott portfolio. So a lot of things are, there are certain things given up here. So, there are segments, there are individuals, there are travelers who said, we want to create this, we want to have feel of this. We want to have a feel something that we missed out in maybe 20 years back. We want to recreate the magic, old events to recreate. And lot of these weird requests, as we may call, which is something we never witnessed earlier, because it was something you would have maybe a 25th wedding anniversary in a typical style. You go to a hotel, invite friends, have a banquet, catering, etc., and done with. But here they want complete album to be made, memoirs, write-ups. Their invites take 3 days. So you need to have a team of experts who really want to do this in a very specialized way, and then reach out to, know their preferences, what exactly they are looking. They would like to pay. That's not something, but how many takers are there for this kind of because it's a high resource intensive trend. It's going to be, yes, you can create these segments, and no segment is, we learned during COVID that there is nothing we can say we don't want it or it's too small. You never know what starts and becomes big. And I see, reading about it and knowing that these trends are going to really rock. And we need to equip ourselves to deal with this in a much better way and offer a lot more. So it is something that, yes, you want to recreate the magic of bygone or recreate the magic of the past. That something needs to happen. We sure need to look at it. So that's very, very important. Hand-picked destinations which provide handheld experiences is what's going to really be the command. And we have time, we need to really see that these resources are put together. Not everybody is going to take, because these are going to cost a bomb. But yes, those companies, organization, reunion, those are something which is very much within everyone's reach. They will continue, but these one have to really, we need to really step up and ensure that we reach a level where we can create these memoirs and these hand-picked postcard and what I say catalog events. There sure are takers. There is a huge market for that. Everybody wants something that they missed out in maybe 10 years back, or their marriage. They wanted it this way. They could not have it a certain way. They want to recreate on their 20th wedding anniversary, or, childbirth, something that they could not do it because they were posted probably in Africa. They want to have that. So a lot of these specifics are coming, and people are spending and more time, they are giving it more serious thought. And I think this trend's going to continue, and we should really give it a serious thought.
Thank you so very much
for it. Yeah.
Thank you so very much, Manjeet. So yes, curated experiences are very important for having extended family reunions. And I think that's something which is, as you mentioned, it's going to be the need of the hour very soon. So with this, I would like to ask my next question to Surinder. So Surinder, now to get the family, now rather than following the route of going to the decision-making man of the family, is there a case of catching the family together and weaning them away? What we mean is, like, you've got hotels across India. Why Maldives and Thailand when Lakshadweep, Andamans, Goa, Karwar, Rameshwaram, and Vizag can do as well? Early in the show, even Sumanji mentioned about the fact that why do people go to Maldives again and again when there are options available within India as well? Do you think a holiday in Kashmir, Ladakh versus the Swiss break, or the Rajasthan versus the desert break in the Middle East? India is also flooded with options for gaming resorts. So do you think there is a case in point for creating a circuit for the family to move around on this? Over to you, Surinder.
Thanks, Ashwani. I must indeed say that, it's been close to an hour, and we've had some interesting discussion, interesting point of views of all the panelists that have come by. Having said that, what I want to tell you is that IHCL is already present in most of these destinations that you've mentioned just now, and is working very actively with Ministry of Tourism to ensure that we promote the local culture amongst these cities. Also, our latest Dekho Apna Desh campaign success, proves the point that if you connect your holiday with a local culture or a local amenity or a cuisine, you will see instant success. The overwhelming demand has been absolutely heartening. Now, coming to holidays in India, largely there are two seasons of holidays in India. One is summers and one is winters. Summers is a time when everybody wants to rush to the hills, and winters is the time when everybody wants to go to the beaches of Goa, Kerala, go to sand dunes of Rajasthan, right? And most of us, our brands are present. At least IHCL has got a huge presence in all these destinations. There are 200 plus hotels of IHCL today, and every year we probably adding another 24 or so. Having said that, I think the need of the hour is also to make India as a 365-day destination. Okay. There are a lot of new tourism spaces that can be developed, and there is some work going on. We have a huge coastline. I mean, our cruises are practically not existent. Okay. Our medical tourism can be big time. Golf can be big time in India. Polo can be big time in India, and these are just some of the examples that the tourism can be developed. And if these pockets also are developed, then from these 4 months, 3 to 4 months destination holiday spots in India can become a 365 days destination. Having said that, I think gaming resorts is also big time in India, and Taj has got a brand which is under Taj Safaris Limited, and we've got 5 resorts under that, whether it's Mawa Koti, Banjartola, Pashangarh, in Pench National Park, and one in Chitwan in Nepal. I think all of them have done fantastically well, and especially in this time when the domestic tourists want to get away from the cities and go to a place which is safe clubbed together with adventure, clubbed together with some kind of a sport, like some of the colleagues said, is a sure success and has done very, very well in last 18 to 20 months. So I think overall, it's a right step forward. Okay, we have been existing in these spots, in these destinations, and going ahead, a lot of new destinations are going to get developed in near future.
Thank you, Surinder. I think yes, you're right. We have hotels, and of course IHCL has hotels, and there are hotels otherwise as well across all these destinations. It's just about somebody taking the first step to start to promote this circuit through and through, so that we are able to tap our domestic guest from not going out seeking these kind of circuits, and to look within India and explore India the way how it should be. So thank you for that insight, Surinder.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah. So with this, I would like to direct my next question to Rahul. Rahul, now, you had mentioned something about airlines in your at the start of the show in the early evening. So now tell me, with the rather attractive and easy to see and understand the loyalty programs work, should there be a joint activity whereby all brands of hotels and travel and tourism operators get together and devise a plan? The objective being, what we are here for is time to India and fill in for the missing Gora. So there is so much to bring more via cross-brand and industry partnerships like airlines, banks, credit cards, OTAs. What would be your views on this, Rahul?
One of the topic very close to me, and I can go on talking about it. I will not on this. I'll just keep it very brief. But just I've got a few points which comes in mind to this whole loyalty program bucket. First thing first, loyalty can never be bought. I think it comes with that whole experience. One of our guests have experienced, whether for him or herself, or with the family, or for that business travel he or she's done over past. And I think one of the things from an opportunity standpoint within the whole domestic bucket within India, which I think we're missing a bit of connecting dot, is when it comes to travel, is as simple as connecting the dot with obviously the airlines, the hotels, and you rightly said, even banks, whether it's American Express. I think they run a pretty good loyalty program to credit cards or anything else under one bucket, so that when it comes to each touch points of this traveler within that whole domestic circuit, that traveler doesn't feel that you're really missing out. And I'm again passionate about Marriott Bonvoy as one of the thing. And we had this topic of sports in this forum, where Marriott Bonvoy has tied up with a lot of sporting event, whether it's Wimbledon or some of the large tennis across the world. But in India, IPL, just the last time around, Marriott Bonvoy sponsored the Mumbai Indian team, and in past as well, Rajasthan Royals and few others in past. And I think that's one thing which goes pretty much hand in hand in getting cricket together, which is in all of us. We all love one or two matches of cricket, or if it's even a Bollywood or anything else. I think we have to come out from that whole culture of, I'm a Marriott Bonvoy member, or I'm a XYZ loyalty program for specific hotel. I think it's us, as the way it goes, it should all be bundled together. From the point, what the missing link today is to bring these partners together and really just create that common link in saying, okay, you're a loyal partner with, let's say, 5 different platforms. Why not we bring them all partners together? And I think that also goes with a little bit of flexibility on saying, okay, I'll come step 1, you come step 2. Let's give that to that end customer, because it's the same customer, it's the same guest who's walking into one of our buildings, having a great stay, having a great food, and is also taking that aircraft, paying through his credit card, and really just finishing it up for that day. And I think it's an opportunity to bundle all of that together. End to end, if you're within the same platform, domestically or internationally or vice versa, that same customer would also feel that consistency on saying, I'm within that same umbrella, whether I'm traveling from Delhi to Kerala or even go overseas. And I think connecting that dot and really putting that extra money into our own loyalty platforms and keep rejigging it to see, how do we meet that customer end is a huge opportunity from my perspective. And I think one of the last thought in your, just through your question as well, I think we need to just connect that together as well. Marriott has recently launched a credit card on a global platform, which has already been, pretty great with some of the partnership we've done in US, Seoul, in Korea recently, Tokyo, and I think it's soon coming in India as well, where, we need to leverage that more and keep bringing in that loyalty program. I mean, I'm not going to name those airlines, but they were airlines who were very successful airlines, didn't have the loyalty programs to start with when they started the business, and they've now converted towards putting that loyalty program through. And I think, we are all biggest ambassadors of those programs, but it's just connecting a dot and bringing them all on a common platform is an opportunity, which I think as a hoteliers, we need to keep pushing that. And to me, it's all giving back to the guest, the same customer.
Great, Rahul. Thank you for your insights. I think what you rightly mentioned about creating end-to-end experiences, about creating an understanding that how important a loyalty program is. And I totally echo what you say, that there are airlines who initially thought the loyalty programs are not that important, and they themselves are coming across. And we also know of certain airlines that have actually gone bust, but the loyalty program still exists. So from both viewpoints, I think you're very right about the loyalty program and how we all the loyalty programs as a joint activity needs to ensure that we do an end-to-end for our guest and let him or her stay back in India and not go outside. So thank you for your views on that, Rahul. With this, I move on to the final question for the evening. And sorry for the overrun, but I think it's been an interesting chat that we are having over here. So that brings me to the Namit. Namit, equivalent, as you're an avid traveler, I read in your bio. So as equivalent to the Paris Dhaka rally from north to south, east to west, or the golden quadrilateral, cars, bikers, horseback, create events and fixtures suggest, do you think it will draw in numbers? F1 was one of them, but then it only happened 2 years and then it had to shut shop in India. How do we do that, make for an opportunity?
See, world global events have to be there. If we really want to be right there and not have our desis go abroad and attend a Formula One in Singapore or go to Macau or all these places, there has to be something, In the end of the day, why does a person travel? It's for entertainment. We recall that Hindi movie, entertainment. Whether we call it anything, we might call it a vice, or we call it anything. I mean, it's everybody's entertainment is different. For somebody, it's going to the Kashi Vishwanath. For somebody, it's going to Goa. Somebody is going to McLeodganj. So having said this, I mean, the only thing that we do is appeasement of politics. Formula One came in, great showcase for the country, fizzled out for whatever reasons all of us are aware. Music is another binding factor. Do we have arenas out here? Do we have things like Madison Square Garden? Do we have things? I mean, we don't even have a music circuit. Forget about, getting those people, like suppose if you recall, Justin Bieber had come to Bombay a couple of years back, and how many of our friends' children were flying across just to see him lip sync? Sorry for that, but that was the fact of the matter. Hornbill, we talk about Hornbill. How have we exploited Hornbill? We talk about heritage being part of us, royalty, companies running palaces, doing this, doing that. What has gone in stopping doing a pan-India heritage car rally? What has stopped us from doing something apart from the Kumbh Mela, Ran of Kutch, and I think that one is your Khajuraho festival. Apart from these three, I honestly, I don't recall the fourth one. Effort has to be given to create. Effort has to be done to create venues. Do we have expositions like what the Dubai can have it? It creates. Do we have those gaming shows which happen in Vegas? Nothing. Steps have to be taken. How many convention centers do we have in India which can have a seating capacity of 15,000 and above? These are infrastructural questions. These are questions which are basic questions which have to be addressed before we get these world sporting events, world music events, and create world events in our own country, because there is so much more. Why always look at the West? We have so much more to do here. So much more in terms of culture, heritage, whether you want to go to the mountains, you want to go to the safaris, gaming. I mean, there are places like Tadoba and all, wherein which if you go, a room costs 60,000 rupees a night. So how do we create all this? It has to be created with my first question. It has to be a partnership. It has to be a partnership with the government, with the agencies and the private equity players coming in, because the governments are not going to get you concerts. They're not going to get you gamers. We have to provide this facility. We have to create that nicheness, and it has to be well marketed. It is all about marketing today. It's all about catching those people, getting it imbibed into them that yes, we also have situations and events like this, wherein which on a global platform, like imagine if you have NBA coming into India, I'm sure IPL, of course, cricket is being a religion out here. NBA coming in will be a different, we'll have people coming in from different parts of the Asian country to see that if it's happening here, world rugby, tennis tournaments, golf tournaments, these are sporting activities, because sports, every person has an interest in some sports, and music, two things. And when it comes to spirituality, depends. Yes, everybody is spiritual, but some people like to go for Tirth Yatra, some don't. But at the end of the day, if you have anything you like to be entertained, and that's what I say, you need a very, very a robust framework. People take flights to Kathmandu just to what, gamble? And unfortunately, here you can only do it in Goa and Sikkim. They're also very restricted. See, you can't stop people's vices. People say dry states. I mean, in Gujarat, you can get a pizza in 30, you get a bottle of alcohol in 20. So, we really have to think about it as to what are we doing, what we really want to project this thing is. So yes, it has to be done with us, keeping those few focuses in mind that, yeah, we need to have certain calendar events which happen yearly, and not only once biannually, but happens, like a cycle, that's how you attract people to come into your place. And yes, and the politics of appeasement need to move out, and politics need to be in sync with the commercial activities that all of us are a part of it.
Great, Namit, thank you for your viewpoints on this. I think very well summed up and put up over here. Yes, we need entertainment. You rightly said that we all need entertainment, and everyone has their own vices to do and to thrive on, and I think we need to create those spaces over here as much in the ethical ways that we could do so, and of course create expositions, venues, circuits over here which can ensure that our guests keep coming back and circuits coming. So thank you for that, and with this I would like to now sum up for the evening. I think we really started off very well with Surinder mentioning about the ease of money and the rate correction, or the total RevPAR that the hotels wanted. So I think we all, the way we've spoken, yes, the domestic guest is going to now come back. How do we stop him from going out of India? Is to create spiritual circuits, gaming circuits, dessert circuits, as Bhuvnesh mentioned, bucket lists or maybe itineraries for an individual to understand that these places are yet unexplored, compare them with or let them see the value for money for doing it over here. The fact that we've got hotels or fact that hotels are across, we should definitely leverage on the loyalty programs which we have over here and try and entice them to stay within India, or curate experiences or events for them which can help them to stay in India. Also, we could have an opportunity with our educational institutes wherein we can have an experiential learning for our students, for our people to come and see it over here. Also for Delhi, NCR, Mumbai, even the metropolitan cities, which are usually considered business cities or fast-paced cities, create food trails for them, create opportunities for them where the domestic guest can also experience that kind of food. Being India, being such a diverse country, we've got different food cuisines and options across India. So we must try and do that. Of course, work along with our state department boards and the local tourism boards to see how we can improve upon and not just make ads which no one is seeing, but actually using that money somewhere. As we said, Incredible India, as we said about Kerala project, we need to have much more involvement from the governments to even promote states of this nature. So that's how I would like to moderate and sum it up, Bhuvnesh, and over to you. And once again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to actually be interacting with with such industry leaders over here and to get their insight. So thank you. And thank you, sir. And thank you, speakers, for giving me the opportunity to ask the questions.
Thank you, Ashwani. First of all, I'm nobody to give you an opportunity. Right? All right. To no one for that matter. You make it possible for us, to feel excited, to feel honored. Each one of you. I mean, we must have done something, like I keep saying, we must have done something right in life to deserve your time, right? So having said that, we are only limited by our imagination. If we know we are limited by our imagination, there's so many ideas, there's so many thoughts. What stops us? I think the government must realize that if they look around the coasts and borders of India, there are an entire nations which are for whom the only livelihood that is there is travel and tourism. Take it away and they are dead. Maldives, Sri Lanka, Mauritius, Seychelles, Thailand, Cambodia, Kampuchea, Vietnam now has industry, or for that matter, Nepal, just because the Everest is there. What stops us? All that these countries have to offer to the world, we have in India. Surinder rightly said, we've got the mountains, we've got the Himalayas, we've got an entire Middle East in India, right? Rajasthan, we've got all the beaches. We've got Lakshadweep, we've got Andaman, we've got the Sundarbans. We have everything. We're only limited by our imagination and effort. If the government can take it up as a worth doing and special purpose objective like the PLI for Make in India, we have a huge thing going. We will not only create a domestic industry and employment, we will also save precious forex. I don't want to take away from what you people have said. It truly has been an honor to bring you all, like I said, great show, great deliberations. But let me also confess over here, the smallest panel for us, but the longest show, and every minute that has been logged in over here is worth its value in gold. Thank you all. Thank you, Ashwani, for great moderation. 10 on 10, right? Thank you, Sumanji. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Surinder. Thank you, Amaan. Thank you, Namit. And we are missing Sanzeev here, right? So great show. Look forward to having you back soon, very soon. Thank you for your time. Go well, do well.